we had like quite a close friendship, but we hadn't spent so much time together, and that's why this had some sort of weird feeling about it.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, it sounds like it was very off the cuff.
Yeah. But for some reason, I don't know, maybe I was worked up in a state of something else, but then there was this quite like real intense energy that I was hit with after that phone call, and I just put it down, and I was just like, I don't know, you get like, it's like maybe a feeling of almost similar to shame, but it's not shame, it's like just a kind of vulnerableness or like some judgment or ego thing, I don't know.
Yeah, purely ego, though, right?
Well, everything's purely ego. Like, but I feel like most stuff. I find like a lot of things, like when I look into myself, or a lot of things when I look outside or whatever. It's all like ego. Like, everything's ego. Like, any sort of most response just seems to be based on ego.
So then, this poem was written in that space, in that uncertain space, where you've released the word, but you don't know what it's going to do, right?
Yeah.
And
like, but also this idea of like. Should we say these things? Should we express them? Should we hold back from this? Should we like be? But it if you feel it, do you just say it, and if you say it, does that mean you feel it?
But in that instance, it didn't seem like you had any control over saying it. It seems like you felt it and it just came out.
Yeah,
like it didn't.
But you've said before that you do this a lot, but you just seem to like perpetually say "I love you" to everybody or to romantic relationships.
Yeah, but that's because I'm trying to manipulate. I don't think I mean it when I say it.
Oh, so you're very conscious when you say it?
I'm very conscious when I say it,
Okay, so you never... So are you saying, like, if you accidentally say it, then it's coming from that sort of subconscious place, so it has to be genuine?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Because I don't like the idea that you're subconscious...
But I feel like sometimes I'm just, like... A lot of the time, I'll be, like, maybe lying in bed with a girl or something, and I just want to be close to that person in that moment, and I really just want to say I love you, but I don't think I have experienced all that intensity or like all this sort of purity that we associate to this love, or like.
But does that not come down to the fact that you can love someone in one moment, but it doesn't mean that you will love them, over a bigger extended period of time.
People don't take it in that way.
But then, could you say "I love you" in this moment, or would that still have that grandiose effect?
I love you in this moment. I think that's like, that's kind of nice. I love you in this moment.
Yeah, because I feel like we don't savor enough moments, right? We
because
see things
I think what that means to me, if you say I love you in this moment, it means I love how you are in this moment.
But that's what it does mean, right? Yeah. Like who you are right now, I want to savor that spirit. I want to savor this moment.
I actually want to say what feels natural to me is I want to just say I love you.
Yeah, but when has that ever stopped you before? Why are you...
No, I do. I actually do hold back.
Really?
I've only ever told one girl in my life, like genuinely, that I love her. Maybe off the cusp.
Was that phone call?
No.
Oh, okay, fine. Because that doesn't count.
Yeah, it was love.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, but why? Why are you holding back? Why?
Well, because I'm scared that, like...
Yeah, but in every other aspect of your personality, I don't think you hold back when you're with people, right? You're very expressive, you're very emotional, very intent. So why would you hold back in this moment?
Because of the consequences of it. Yeah.
And you think, but why do we judge people based on their words and not their deeds? Like, if you love her, would that not come across in your actions, right?
But I think people, we should judge people on their deeds, but there's a certain sort of tangibility to words, which people ascribe to. And I think this is like, you can always infer doubt into an intangible like action of love, but when there's words which are quite categorical, I love you, then there's less space for doubt, and people take that more. And I think this is like the biggest problem with like society and everything is we put way too much emphasis on the tangible and not enough on the intangible.
Yeah, like the actions, right?
Yeah.
But then
actions are tangible as well, but the essence behind the action, which is the true conversation, is intangible.
That's very true. But do you not think about a lot of it is that, I can go home and say to my friend, she loves me, because she told me she loved me. Whereas it would be harder for me to say to you, she loves me, because she did this.
You made a sculpture out of bogies.
Yeah. Oh, she did like this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe we need that. Maybe we need those words to explain it to other people rather than...
But your story of the library... The Hindu library book candle story.
Oh,
Like
yeah, that's true love, though. I do
Yeah.
think that's the most romantic thing anyone's ever done for me. So, to provide context, girl I've been dating, it's coming up to Diwali, and she went to a library and she rented a couple of books out on Hinduism, and we're at dinner, and she gives me a candle because she knows that Diwali is the festival of light, and it's a blue candle because blue is my favourite colour. And I was floored, right? But is that love, or is that just a romantic gesture?
Well, it's a romantic gesture. It's just a romantic gesture, but it could be from a place of love.
Yeah, but what is love but a romantic gesture?
Love is far more than a romantic gesture.
Not in the way that we're saying. Like, if I love you in that moment, that's just a romantic gesture.
In the moment.
Why does love have to encompass your whole relationship?
No, but like you said before, you could do something to manipulate someone.
Yeah, but I do that because of people's definition of love. But I think in our definition of love, we actually love people in that moment.
Yeah. Do we?
Yeah, because I don't think we preoccupy ourselves with the future. We very much live in the moment. We try and savor the moment. So if I love you in that moment, that doesn't necessarily mean I'll love you a week from now.
Yeah, but I fixate on words a lot as well. Like, I'll make words permanent, even though I agree with you and I think everything's ridiculous and other people are ridiculous and we live in a world of, like, populated by lunatics, of which we are kings.
Yeah.
But
and pawns.
Kings and pawns, exactly.
Yeah.
To our own masturbation. Okay. Well, should I read the poem?
Wait, yeah, sorry, read the poem. I think it's fascinating as well. It'd be fascinating to see, because that was quite a while ago, right?
Yeah.
And if you think this poem is still relevant, would still be relevant the next time you say I love you.
21st of the 9th, 2016.
2016?
No, yeah.
It wasn't that long.
It's like exactly a year ago.
Yeah. What, a year
Like,
and a month?
yeah. Our exactitude is not exact.
Yeah, but we don't believe in time.
Yeah, of course not.
Should
Yeah.
I introduce you in, or are you ready to go?
Yeah, introduce me, sure.
Does it have a title?
Huh? No.
Of course not.
Of course not. Yeah, I expect a very sort of grandiose
introduction.
Yeah, of course.
The poet laureate for Karl Marx as a washing up, Ilyas with his poem on the perils of love, or the perils of telling someone you love them,
or the perils of having to listen to a poem.
I assume our listeners won't listen.
No, of course not. If your dishes are getting dirty, this is maybe the time to go wash them.
Go for it.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I hate the power it has over me and my feeble need to say it, to dramatize my outer existence so I can glorify myself for having lived, having felt, having loved. But I don't know what love is, in concept or thought or skin or bone or flesh. It's an abstract hovering whisper that tricks, lying through the teeth of professed romance. The love is the theatre of the mind's life, the subject of all subjectives, the imaginative imposed upon itself, reveling in its own stinking fantasies of grandeur. No one loves nothing. No one feels anything. True feeling is nameless. It lives in the eyes of the soul of the world. It is never spoken, never pronounced, never dressed up in a bridal cacophony of white and rose glistening dreams. It is the soil and the earth, the shit that stares up at you, stinking and throwing its pungent facade, as it nurtures the soil and gives birth to 1,000 distant plants. As the shit procreates, I write, fabricating an elegant abstraction of love, lost in a Greek tragedy of cerebral definition. I have not loved. I have not known love. I have said I love you, but I have felt nothing, merely a desire to love and experience the catharsis of expressing something that does not exist. To say I love you is to be a fiction, and you are cast as a protagonist, a role Hollywood never offered you. And so you take your popcorn romantic comedies and sculpt the role that suits you best. But we are all Brad Pitt spewing like Woody Allen, aching to feel the unfelt. As self-centric spheres spinning in the vortex of our idiosyncrasies, we become each other, craving after the universal, a mutual delusion grounded in an unknown truth. And whilst we don't know love, or know what it is, somehow we are it, bound to each other, crocheted through amorous threads. For in our isolation, when we fabricate romantic tales of dualistic intertwining, unknowingly we are playing charades with the universe, and everyone is on our side. For we are not in love, we are love, suspended eternally in an endless sea of rotating infinities. And all I can say is I love you. For I have no will to be silent or desire to be true. just the aching pain that tells me I am alive and motherfucker, I must do something about it. And whether I'm in love, or am love, or feel love, or hate love, in all its cliches and delusions, I know only one thing to say. I love you. Because I do. I truly do. And who are you? Who am I? We are the unspoken. The ineffables. The I and the love of you.
That was amazing. That was incredible. I think, yeah, it's quite an angry tone, Lee.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my normal sort of style, but
yeah, normally your style is a lot more docile.
gentle. Yeah,
a lot more gentle.
Well, I was quite like filled with this real like
intense
intensity.
energy.
Yeah. When I wrote it, and I was kind of, I don't know. I think this is also the hard. I get into these. Sometimes, a lot of the time, I work myself up about. I just have this need to live this like intense, theatrical, poetic reality, and then just like dramatize everything into this like this incandescent world.
But is that not
so
what
that I
love
can
is?
make art in response?
Is
to
that
it.
not what love is though? Love is like this flash of emotion.
No, I don't think it really is. I think
You
that's
think it's a constant?
Yeah, I think it's like this state of balance and this like mutuality of giving and receiving, in which like the self dissolves into this sort of space between, and when the linearities of transactional occurrences between selves moves into a cyclical organism between selves.
So if we explain that in a bit more detail, so it would be like, when you love someone, when you first start in a relationship, there's giving and there's receiving. But you were talking about when the
self kind of moves outside of into the space between these two people, and that linear movement moves into this like sort of cyclical thing. So then there's no point in which you can actually talk about the moment when you were giving or receiving, or who was giving and who was receiving.
Yeah, you've dissolved yourself, right?
Yeah.
You just exist in this space now, right?
Yeah, you've kind of created a whole new entity.
Yeah, and
well, the entity is like it's a non-entity. It's just the space between us.
Yeah, and you're not giving to receive anymore, right? You're just giving and receiving.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so. And I think what you were talking about, like that real intense, like,
but is that lust?
Power? Yeah, I think that's just like, it's a lust. I would say that's lust. And which can formulate like an attraction and a bonding, a sort of unity between two people. But in order for that to like move into that space of love, it has to have like there has to be a sort of entanglement of the individuals involved, right? And the lust is very directional. It's very like you are there and I'm here and I'm lusting towards you. Whereas the love is like circular and like all encompassing.
Yeah.
Right? You live together in love.
And you're in that space. Love. Yeah, you're in love. And then you're right. So when you fall out of love, you fall out of this bubble, right? You fall out of the circle.
Yeah, I think so. But that's the other question. Like, can you actually ever fall out of love, or is love this eternal thing? Right? Sure. And if you've fallen out of love, then was it really love?
So I disagree with that.
This is the question that,
But so if we do see love as that energy that exists between two when you are giving and receiving, and you're dissolving yourself, then when you do become self-centric again and you stop thinking about the other person and stop giving and receiving, surely that energy will dissipate.
Yeah.
And you would fall out of love. If that energy doesn't exist anymore, then you're not in love anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah? No, I'm glad that you agree with that. I'm glad that you agree. Also, I like some of your... if we look in your poem... you mention like the cliches rather, and delusions of love.
Yeah. What did they say? Cliches and delusions of love.
Yeah.
What about them?
Just how... And like you make a lot of reference to Hollywood and romantic comedies, and how you're picking someone to star in your movie, right? But she hasn't asked to be chosen.
Yeah. She hasn't asked to be chosen, yeah.
Yeah, and that's amazing, right? Yeah, that's such a beautiful concept that can you only love someone that wants to be part of your movie?
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think so. Like, I mean, it's very hard to cast somebody when they don't turn up to any meetings. Right?
But so many people love people that are unobtainable, right?
Like, we date people who never turn up to our dates.